What's going on there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? It's your boy, Ninja Bread TV, and today I'm joined by my always ever-dashing co-panelist known as SubtleFraudulence. Say hello to the people.
Oh, yeah, people, hello.
Man, that was the most unenergetic hello. Where was the enthusiasm?
Oh, I'm supposed to be enthused about this? All right. Yeah. Here with Ninja Bread TV, the guy.
There you go, the guy, wearing his really not green screen safe MomoCon shirt, I'll tell you that. Looks like I got static television on my fucking chest, but that's neither here nor there. We are also joined by the mysterious man on the internet, the man who has a fixation with otters and the color green, Mr. Kawttus. How you doing, Kawttus?
I'm fantastic!
Enthusiasm, or
That was the proper amount of enthusiasm. You see, SubtleFraudulence, he understands. He knows how to wet the whistle. That's what he's doing right there.
He can understand enthusiasm. I'll understand the people.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we have a translator here to make sure everything goes over 100% kosher with the audience. So today marks a very interesting day because it's Tuesday. But yesterday was probably one of the most eventful Mondays we've had in a while. We got Toy Story 4 with, I think, 2 trailers have dropped now. There was one that was about them just holding hands and some dude named Forky, who's a spork, who's not a toy, who's got like PTSD because he doesn't think he's a toy, but he's a toy. And now there's another one about Ducky and Friend, and it's Key and Peele. So now you got people who are like, oh my god, it's Key and Peele doing Key and Peele things. This doesn't look like it's gonna be a good Toy Story movie. And then you got the other camp who are just like, oh my god, this is turning into a DreamWorks production. I still don't know what that comment was supposed to mean, but that was just like showing you that Key and Peele are in the movie. It didn't say they were going to have a big role, and it didn't say that scene, like they were acting like that scene was a trailer of what's to come in the movie. That was just,
I mean, Key and Peele, they're not going to be Woody and Buzz, so
yeah, like
it's not going to be a big deal.
And they were doing Key and Peele humor, and I think that's what was turning people off because everybody's not down with the KP. But let's be real here. People are acting like that scene is going to be in the movie where Ducky and Friend are going to be doing like a sketch. And Woody and Buzz are just going to walk in with that weird camera. Like that was just for hype. So
I mean, a lot of scenes they show in like teasers or trailers and stuff don't even make it into the actual movie.
Yeah, like that was legitimately just for hype. That really had nothing to do with anything, really. I mean, like, how many times you seen like trailers where it's got like, you know, Kevin Hart and Ice Cube doing some nonsense, ridiculous stuff that it has nothing to do with the movie, but it's used to promote the movie.
Well, sometimes they'll make completely misleading scenes. I mean, look at Infinity War, where they put the Hulk in scenes when the Hulk wasn't in any of those scenes.
Which was the best strategy to go with, because the only way to deal with people who are like, oh, I'm going to predict a movie before I see it is giving them fake things so that they watch the movie, they're like, oh, they lied to us.
Got to give them the bait. That's the way you got to keep things fresh, interesting, and innovative. Other than Toy Story dropping, we also got a nice little trailer for Detective Pikachu. And look, Ryan Reynolds, you the homie. You've been in some movies that were some stinkers, and you've admitted that. You've been in some real winners. But this right here, look, I understand that live action Pokemon is a really difficult thing to do. It's going to be nigh impossible, but you got to remember, first and foremost, this is a movie for kids, toddlers, people who are not looking too deep into attention for detail. These people just like, oh my god, it's Pikachu doing a funny thing. Ha ha ha, Mr. Mime doing, and you know, there's going to be a couple of head nod jokes like that. Mr. Mime scene, that was for the adults. That was for, you brought your kid here, but we got you though.
The movie is for the adults. It's got Pokemon in the title. You know, kids these days don't know that much about Pokemon. They want the ones playing Pokemon Go.
What I'm gonna need you to do is just throw that entire hot take you just threw at me, put it right in the garbage. We'll put a pin in it for now. We're not gonna throw it in the garbage yet. We're gonna put a pin in it for now. Honestly, the Pokemon has definitely time out, time in, time again, over and over, repeatedly, demonstrated they know their audience. And even when they make mistakes, they know that no matter how bad their mistake may be, they know that their faithful will always be able to be reeled and corralled back into the fold with a patch or a new game. Hell, they could release a fucking t-shirt and people are like, oh my god, my faith in Pokemon has been renewed and restored. And things will be great. I mean, we all know how Pokemon Go turned out. It was like a hot fad for like 2-3 months. And then we said, we're just doing the same thing over and over again. And a lot of people stopped playing, but every time there was a new patch, there'd be a huge influx of people jumping back into the game, only to have the same complaints they had before they left the first time. But, you know, time and time again, people will come back and get fooled by that. But that's neither here nor there. What is here and there, though, is Detective Pikachu is going to be a movie that I think is going to be financially successful because, I mean, let's be honest, it's not going on a limb. If you slap Pokemon on something, people are going to go out and go see it. But the thing that gets me are these, like, people who are, like, in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s who are shitting all over it because of how the CGI looks. Like, oh my god, Greninja! Look at how it looks in the hall. It's so awful. And it's like, yeah,
Have
but
they watched any movie in the last few years? I mean, a lot of movies in their CGI looks terrible and fake.
yeah, like this is kind of par for the fucking course, if you ask me. Now,
This is actually probably one of the better ones, I have to say.
a lot of the movies can mask their shitty CGI because the backgrounds are shitty CGI, the set is shitty CGI. So the shit that is shitty CGI just blends in. It looks normal to you.
Pokemon are anime characters. What were they expecting to happen with anime characters and CGI?
Like, have you not seen live action Death Note, my guy? Like,
let's not talk about that. Live action Death Note is not really worth mentioning when it comes to anything. But as far as the Pokemon go, they don't look awful. It's just that people are going to assume that it's really bad because it's CGI. But like, would you rather have paper mache Pokemon or something? Like
yeah, right.
Like, there's not much else that can be done.
Do you want that augmented reality that you see on Pokemon Go when like it's just fucking Pikachu
they tried to
sitting there in your living room?
I mean, they try to get him like fur and feathers, trying to make him a little bit more realistic. I mean, they could like downright just download the Pokemon Go models and toss them into this thing, but they didn't.
Yo, furry Jiggly
to make him realistic.
Furry Jigglypuff looks like a goddamn monster. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's the truth.
I think the realism makes sense for what they're trying to do with the movie because they're trying to just integrate Pokemon into that particular world. Like, you know, they're just a regular real world thing. Like, it's not something that people are like, oh my god, these monsters just started showing up and then they say their name all the time.
Yeah, like it's like they're making it seem like Pokemon and humans have lived side by side for generations. Like it's at a state of normalcy, not some weird plot where like they're not pulling the Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm Kaiba's unborn brother Noah, and I've uploaded from cyberspace the Pokemon in the old like that is not what we're doing. This is if Pokemon were real legitimate creatures, this is how they would be. And some people are gonna say, well, couldn't they have done like more realistic things? And like, you know, we've seen realistic aliens, like because you know people will use like actual props, and if you done any research, there's actual props for a lot of these CGI models. Like there's helmets and there's masks and stuff like that. But you got to remember, there's like what 700 Pokemon. I don't know what generation this is, but since Greninja's in there, I'm assuming we're getting at least 6. I would assume 7 is definitely already in there.
You're assuming too hard. We're getting Gen 1 and Greninja. That's it. I'm calling it now. Gen 1 and Greninja, because people remember Greninja because of Smash, and then Gen 1 Pokemon, and that's it.
Don't you dare put the Fire Emblem curse on Greninja too, dog. Don't do that. Hey, you know Greninja from Smash.
That's exactly what they're gonna do. You know that guy Marth from Smash Bros.
Please no.
Yo, I felt bad for some of the Fire Emblem characters because, like, I actually hear that on a day basis, you know, on Discord, where it's just like, yeah, you know, Corrin from Fire Emblem, and I'm like, Corrin from Fire Emblem.
It's like, yo,
like, no,
do you not even read what's in the game? It says they're from Fire Emblem.
But when someone said Corrin from Fire Emblem, I've heard so much Corrin from Smash, Roy from Smash, Marth from Smash. When he said Corrin from Fire Emblem, it took me a second to realize what the. I was like, from Fire. Oh yeah, you're right. Yep, almost got me.
The thing that sucks about Martin Roy and people like associating them with Smash and now Fire Emblem is that their Fire Emblem games were like really good. It's just that nobody in the U.S. knew about them because they weren't released in the U.S. until like years later.
But didn't one of theirs get skipped?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean, when it came,
we only got 2 of them.
Yeah, like one of them came to the West, and you said it was Roy's game, I believe, that got skipped.
Yeah.
So technically,
so even the Smash character did not even have his game released in America.
Yeah. And Marth's game didn't come out until it like came out later on the DS, I think.
Yeah, they Shadow Dragon. And that's the remake of like the original.
Yeah.
I got
the original was Japanese only, which it was a good one. So I didn't understand why that was the case.
I do think
as far
that
as people are concerned, Eliwood is the first Fire Emblem character.
I do think,
and he's not Smash. And even in Fire Emblem Heroes, his character's pretty garbage.
But I do think that Nintendo sometimes they really think that there's stuff that they have that just won't work in the West, and the West is over here like, bro, bring that here, bring it back, that truck over here and dump it right there in front of me so I can consume.
How do you think it feels being a Yakuza fan and finally seeing Yakuza games getting brought over to the West now?
But what's really weird is like there's such an influx of people now who are like, oh my god, these Yakuza games are great. I love this new series. And it's like, new? Huh? What you mean?
You know what's insulting about that though? The Fist of the North Star game came out in Japan. It was announced in Japan, and it was like, oh, okay, so I guess I'll have to wait like 4 years before it comes out to the US. And then like maybe a year later, they're like, yeah, it's coming out, it's coming out next year. Don't worry. And we're getting like extra stuff for the English version. Like you can even play as Kiryu in the English version. I'm like, what?
That seems really bizarre given how OD some of the people in Fist of the North Star can be. But we seen with the characters in Yakuza, they ain't no slouch.
It actually proves that that the Fist of the North Star story is just a Yakuza game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's literally just Yakuza in a more desolate setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, but at least they're getting noticed now, so that's always great. But yeah,
rest in peace, Shenmue.
Rest in peace, Shenmue. And speaking of, yo, when is that third game coming out? What? Like, I'm honestly gonna have to put out the poll again. What's coming out first? That
it better not come out because Yakuza is a better Shenmue series,
right? It was just bad timing for Shenmue 3. Like
the current date is set to August 27th, 2019.
People were telling
people still like almost a year.
People were telling me spring 2019. Then they would before that they were telling me like Q4 2018. It might be coming out 20 never. You know what else is coming out 20 never? Psychonauts 2. But I'm not gonna talk about that right now. I'm gonna keep it moving.
I mean, it's cool. You don't need that.
Yeah, I sure don't.
I invested in it on Fig.
What we not about to do is get. Hey, it might come out one day, but like I don't like. There's probably people who gave that game money and don't even remember that the game is supposed to come out.
Yep.
But that is you get with like Kickstarter-esque games, even if they're coming from quote unquote reputable sources. But all that being said, speaking of RIP, when you talk to Shenmue, there's another RIP, Mr. Stan Lee, one of the spearheads of the comic book industry, definitely somebody who definitely lifted up a lot of spirits. I know a couple of people were just like, it hit them like a fucking brick. Like they never met the man, but they felt like they knew the man and had a connection to him only because they had some tough times, and some of the places that they would turn to first would be comic books. Definitely get their mind out of the gutter, not sexually, but maybe tough times, depression, who's to say, who's to judge. But definitely a guy who did a lot of things for the industry and overall seemed like a genuine guy. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but what was weird to me was how people would come out the woodwork and be like, well, Stan Lee might have died, but you really should be shining the light on these comic book people. Stan Lee just had accolades because he was more popular. And it's like, yo, shut your ass up. Just sit in the corner and
just fight him.
Sit the fuck down. Like,
see, that's where Yakuza plays a part there. See, as soon as people say stuff like that, you just fight initiated and then just start a Yakuza battle with them.
Because you see some of these people, I'm like, bro, even if that is the argument you wanted to make, not today. We ain't having it today. We might try it 2 weeks from now. We may try it a month from. Not today. Have some respect for someone who's done a lot for the industry that you claim to love, right? But yeah. Any thoughts y'all have on Mr. Lee?
I mean, Stan Lee was amazing. He created amazing things. The weird thing that I've seen is that bunches of people who gave up Marvel and all that stuff are just like, yeah, now that Stan Lee's dead, I'm going to show myself streaming all the Marvel versus games. And it's like, the dude stopped. All right. And it's like, he gave us these amazing versus games. It's like, yeah, games that you could have kept playing, but whatever.
Well, here's the
stream
thing.
These because I like Wolverine.
Now, let me tell you what that was. That was very few people actually trying to pay, respect and homage. But there was a lot of people like, Stan Lee died? Man, I could sure get a lot of views if I stream this game. Like, they were opportunists. They were hounding.
Of course.
That was some ultimate opportunist scumbag stuff there. And, for some people, that's how they get their hustle on Twitch. They'll wait for someone to die, and then they'll just boot up a game that they know damn well they would have never booted up any other reason. Even if they don't even like the game, just to say they booted up the game and get some... And they'll have some, something in the title, like, the Stan Lee Memorial stream. And it's just
exactly.
And it's in the stream, they don't talk about how good the game is, or they don't talk anything about Stan Lee. They don't talk about any of his comics or, any of the characters. They literally just them doing a regular everyday old Let's Play. And it's just like, all right, man, if you're going to get your clout like that, go ahead. But I mean, goddamn, homie, you might want to just be a little bit more genuine to the fact that you're quote unquote having a post-mortem stream for an actual human being who lived. But that's neither here nor there either, I'm assuming. What about you, Kawttus? I know you were a Marvel head. Anything you'd like to say?
I mean, he's definitely probably one of the most well-known comic book people in the entire industry, and I think he really helped bring it mainstream. I mean, that's one thing people were always excited to look forward to in the Marvel movies is what's Stan Lee going to do this time? And sometimes he's an actual character, and then sometimes it's really so. He's just a guy in the background. You'll see him for a second. He'll be a guy in a poster even. And it's I know we have a few more where we get to see him, but then after that, I don't know if they're going to honor him in different ways, or they're going to bring in another prolific comic book guy to make cameos, or who knows. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, he was definitely Where's Waldoing it for a while in some of these movies. But I will say this. There's only one thing I hope they don't do or try to do, and there's no reason for them to do it because it's not the same in terms of the role that he plays. Let's just not have CGI Stan Lee showing up in random movies, because I don't want the Star Wars. All right, we didn't need that in Star Wars, but we got it in just about every movie since it's come back.
Wait, what happened in Star Wars? Was it CGI Carrie Fisher?
No, Tarkin in Rogue One.
Grand Moff Tarkin, and then you had didn't they have CGI young Leia? Yeah,
her too. But she was only there for 5 seconds.
Yeah, she was there for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to have any CGI Leia shenanigans going on with the new movie. I know they said they're going to be using old scenes, but if they have to make some edits, I don't know if they're going to hit them with the splicey splice of some CGI. Who knows?
Gonna do some Paul Walker.
Yo, hire his brother and put his face on it. That is so creepy.
I mean, it worked out.
I mean, it did, but I mean, could you imagine if hey, yo, Abdul, let's say you have a brother that looks like you, and it's hey, Abdul, we know your brother died, but we want you to come over here and we want you to wear his face.
Hell, I'm not.
Even worse, we want you to stand there, and we're gonna digitally put his face on your face, so that when people see this footage, it looks like you're him.
you're your brother. But I mean, with Fast and the Furious, I guess it's a little different because you get that $4.8 million paycheck for doing nothing. So you might be all right, I'll wear my brother's face. It's cool. But yeah, It's very interesting. Other than that, I don't know how much Kawttus cares about this next topic, but boy, is anybody just a little bit more stoked for this Broly movie? Because like these trailers, while half of them just show the same footage over and over, the little bit of new tidbits you get.
I gotta address something that's really annoying about this.
Okay, talk to me.
First off, one of the big reveals is that Vegeta goes Super Saiyan God form. That's not even necessary.
I have something to say about that. I can defend that. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. Because some people don't seem to understand why, regular God form is a necessary thing. Because there's two arguments against it. People are saying, why would you go Super Saiyan Red when you can go Super Saiyan Blue? I'm not going to say Super Saiyan God. I'm just going to say Red versus Blue. Why would you go Red when you can go Blue? Or the other argument, well, I don't understand how Vegeta can even go Red. He didn't go through the ritual and blah, 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 right? So, according to the manga, if you're reading the manga, right, he already has access to the Red form.
Yeah.
If you want to read into certain lines that were said in the anime, Whis alludes to the fact that Red is a prerequisite to get to Blue.
Yeah.
So it should have already, once you saw him go Blue, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, so he can go Red. You should have just known. You should have just known at that juncture that he had the ability to do it. Off-screen shenanigans, sure. Off-panel shenanigans, once again, sure. But you should have already known it was in Vegeta's repertoire. But even past that, if you looked at the Tournament of Power, they gave you the explanation on why Red has certain advantages that Blue doesn't have. So maybe there's
my memory on this. What were those advantages?
It's like a stamina consumption thing. Like if you're in Red, they would usually have more control of their energy and they don't get tired as fast.
Well, yeah, because Blue's a higher form, so of course it's going to use more energy.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. So, let's be honest. I mean, Goku could easily, just go Super Saiyan 3, but, sometimes he'll still fight a motherfucker at Super Saiyan. You gotta remember, Saiyans are cocky motherfuckers.
Super Saiyan 3 actually takes more stamina.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware. But what I'm saying is, you see Vegeta going Super Saiyan Red, right? You don't think he's testing his limits? Vegeta. I don't need to go Blue to body this dude.
I mean, I'm aware of all that. The weird thing about it, though, is that it's my thing about Dragon Ball. People are just going to gloss over it and not realize, how important it is that Vegeta can do that. Because even with Super Saiyan, it was Goku went Super Saiyan. Oh, this is the legendary form. Nobody can achieve this. And Vegeta was just I can achieve it. And then he just does it. Through sheer force of will, he did something that nobody is supposed to be able to do. And then after that, they made it not seem as amazing by making everybody else who has any kind of Saiyan blood just do it. like it's a casual thing.
8-year-old Trunks and 6-year-old Goten popping that Super Saiyan. They might have even been younger than that. Holy smokes!
Yeah,
when the infants are coming out and just haha, I'm a Super Saiyan, and Vegeta's like, you fucking what, mate? You what?
Super Saiyan God is the same thing. Goku had to go through a ritual to get Super Saiyan God form, and I don't even think the manga confirms whether or not Vegeta went through a ritual or if he just did it.
I would assume that they would have had to do the ritual. I don't know why, what threat they would have had to face to make him do it, or maybe he just said, "Fuck it, you're doing the ritual for me. We did it for you. You're doing it for me." Who knows? I would assume that you would have to
do a ritual.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that he would have had to because remember, even the fucking Shenron told them that's the only way.
I don't believe that shit either. So
they retcon a lot of things in Dragon Ball and often really. But if rich homie Shenron says it, we might as well commit that to law.
Yo, Shenron's also a liar. I do not have enough power to kill this man, but I can raise the dead. It's what are you saying? I can make you immortal, but I can't wipe out that guy over there who, in turn, is not very strong.
Also, all right, Dragon Ball might have the most annoying power scaling thing I've ever seen because, look, I get it. We know we're gonna get Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. We probably even get Vegito if they're gonna use the earrings. You might get both in this movie. And somehow, somewhat, we know this is gonna come down to some Ultra Instinct chicanery. But even if it doesn't, if no one pops Ultra Instinct in the movie, which is fine and all, let's be honest. What we're saying here with a very strong voice is the legendary Super Saiyan Broly is infinitely inferior to Jiren. Just want everyone to know.
Nah, because you got to pay more attention to that trailer. Goku went Super Saiyan Blue, and he's fighting Broly, and then Broly's like, "All right, it's time for me to go." And he's like, "There's another form," and that was all I needed to hear. I was like, "All right." So Broly's gonna like go to his Brolic form. Goku's gonna be like,
"Yeah,"
oh,
but
well,
you gotta remember, Jiren was just like, "Here's my hand," and then Super Saiyan Blue Goku was like, "It's over."
Jiren's not even from the same universe.
That's
though.
what I'm just saying that. I'm just saying. Because you know how Broly fans are. You got to keep them in check before the movie comes out. Because the minute you see it, you know it's going to be Broly's the strongest being they've ever faced. Jiren's weak in comparison.
Broly movie happened after this whole Jiren Tournament of Power stuff is because if they found Broly beforehand and brought him to the Tournament of Power, there would be no Jiren.
It would have just been, hey, yo, if fucking Broly popped Ultra Instinct, just shut it off. Just shut it off.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, there's also the announcement that Dragon Ball Super is getting a new arc.
Yeah, heard about that, but I'm not gonna say anything because I've seen this before. It'll just be the Broly movie, but as an arc.
Whatever. I don't think that's the case. A lot of people are trying to make that joke, but there's not really a reason for that unless they announce that the Broly movie is just, somehow not canon, even though everything about it seems very canon.
But here's one thing I noticed in the third trailer. I don't know if you guys have saw it. It was like it was just a couple frames. It looked like Whis was hitting a combat stance.
Yep.
And I'm like, who is he about to swing on? Because if he needs to, if it gets to a point where he feels like he needs to swing on this dude, all right.
His power is infinite.
That's the tagline?
Yeah. We's gonna have to square up. He's like, oh, I've got to take care of this one now. Oh, jeez.
Broly's that, first of all, Paragus don't want Whis hands. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Paragus probably don't want Yamcha hands, all right? I mean, I know this is a brand new Paragus. This ain't the one from the movies of old, but that man looked like he needed to be on one of them floating chairs that Frieza had on Namek, bro.
I feel like Paragus is going to get Frieza the hands. I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, so you think they gave not only Paragus one of the most dope looks and redesign, he's actually just going to be out here giving people the hands now?
Yeah.
All right, I respect it. I would love to see that. As long as they don't say, "Oh yeah, he's not old." That's not why he has the silver hair. He has silver hair because he's in a new form. That would definitely not be something I would want to see. Just, I think it'll be a pretty decent movie. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't know.
Actually, are we gonna go watch that one?
Yeah, I'm
January.
I'm down to see it. It comes out in January. Yeah. Very early in the year.
Yeah, I think we should watch that then. No, but we can all go watch.
Apparently, they're doing some screenings in December, but that's like not local. That's like the pre-release. I guess that's like loc testing. Film.
Yeah.
So if we can get into one of those, that'd be yeah. But they said there's some that are going to be coming out in theaters. Someone put out a release schedule on Twitter and on I was either Funimation or. What? You were saying no. Hello?
Oh, my dog's being weird. Don't mind me.
Oh, okay. The weird dog. I understood, bro. Under-freaking-stood. So, speaking of dogs being weird and various other things being weird in the world today, another RIP in the biz. Prima strategy guides, boys. I don't know if you guys have ever had a strategy guide book brought to you by Prima, but Prima was actually pretty accurate with what they were putting out there. If you wanted a game beaten and you wanted it beaten right and you couldn't be asked to figure out the crazy convoluted strats to get to the secrets and 100%ing your favorite title, Prima would have the hookup. And they were second to none in terms of printed guides. Although them being defunct now, honestly, I'm surprised it took this long given the age of the internet. How as soon as a game comes out, 6 hours later, there's some YouTube channel that's like, Red Dead Redemption 2, 100% walkthrough, all secrets, all guns, da-da-da-da. And it's just like, oh, snap. And it'd be like a 4-hour video, and it's like part 1. And like you just watch somebody go straight through the game, rip right on through the damn thing. It's uploaded in 1080p, or in some cases, if they got a good enough computer and, render speed, it'll be up before you even wake up the day after the game came out in glorious 4K, 60 motherfucking frames per second. Anything that you could ever need to know about the game is right there in front of you. Some of them even have the branching paths already. Don't ask how they do it. They just fucking do it. I don't know how. Maybe you guys can teach me the tech on that one, but Prima Strategy Guide's going out of business or closing up shop, as it were. I don't know if you guys are surprised because, come on, we've had sites like, I don't know if this may be dating me a little bit, but do you guys remember Game Winners?
Oh. Yeah.
You remember Super Cheats?
You mean Super Trash?
Yeah, there you go.
Game Facts.
Well, Game Facts is like the OG because it still remains strong at this point.
They still exist.
I think it's funny because they're one of the few websites that understands how to modernize their website in terms of barely changing anything, but it's still not a site that looks like it's annoying to be on.
Yep, I just went there. It looks almost exactly the same.
But there's enough changes where you could say, yeah, it's modern. So I always thought that was a little interesting thing to take note of. So for Prima Strategy, I think it's pretty interesting that, they had some really good guides, that's some really good, well-written stuff. They definitely tried their hand at fighting games with Street Fighter V, giving you a whole bunch of frame data. And I'm assuming there would be a market for them to have updated it for Season 2, and I guess Season 3 is probably going to come out soon, if it's not already.
The update was not a matter of pay to get updated data for frame data for this guide that you already have. It was literally the game has changed. You guys gonna update this to keep up with the times and the people who are playing the game so that they can refer to your guide, and other people who enter the game in Season 2 and so forth will buy your guide because it's still worth it. And they're like, nah.
Yeah, that's true, but you got to remember, there's so many people who have frame data apps now. You got YouTube channels that
but that's the reason why, though. It's because they can't get the official frame data, so they're like, well, we've got to do it ourselves now.
Yeah, but then you got to remember, a lot of the big fighting game releases, like even Street Fighter now, an arcade edition, you go to practice mode, it tells you what the frame data is. It tells you
that tool is not it's not the best. When it comes to...
I didn't say it was the best. I'm just saying a lot of people would notice that the game has that, and therefore they would feel reluctant to spend money on a guide. And if they already spent money on the guide and have the guide, it's all right, that's a certain audience demographic. And for all we know, we don't know really... I don't think we have the sales numbers on if that guide was really booming. Because if the guide itself wasn't booming, there was probably no reason to put the effort... or expunge the effort to update it if they already knew they were going to close up shop. Because even if they did update it, whoever is still here for Season 2 who didn't already have the guide, with all these aforementioned tools of online videos, tutorials, the in-game counter, blah, 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 so on and so forth, the tweets that people put out there day one about their character having frame data, blah, 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 and tech videos, there's all that cavalcade and wealth of information out there, there's a chance they would feel no need to spend even $2, $1.99 on a guide that they would deem comprehensive over at Prima.
All of that happens because there's no guide for them to refer to for that sort of thing.
But there was a guide for Season 1, and those videos still exist.
Pause. Don't you remember Injustice 2 coming out and the frame data being wrong in the game?
Yeah.
And you also got to remember that.
And you know what else I
what was it?
remember? The frame data being wrong in Injustice 1, and there was a Prima guide for that didn't sell for shit.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, like if they had like an actual digital guide that they were saying, "Hey, we're keeping this up to date and whatnot," like you can use this as a resource, and people don't have to put their stuff out there like that. They can just say, "Oh, hey, you can refer to this guide because it has the frame data."
But people do
and
that
whatnot.
anyway, regardless if there's a guide or not. Is what I'm saying.
It's because they're forced to. You got to remember, games like Dragon Ball and Marvel don't have any sort of guide, no like official frame data whatsoever. So people have
because
to refer to
for Dragon
PC
Ball,
tools
for Dragon
to get
Ball,
any of that.
for Dragon Ball, I understand because straight up, I'm swearing some of the
They
frames is
definitely would have sold
inconsistent.
guides. They would have.
You would have definitely had to sell guys because the frames. There, sometimes I can recreate the same situation. I feel as though I hit you that time, but you hit me that time. We got to we got to understand and break down some of this science as far as I'm concerned. But
I mean, that's exactly why guides are necessary. But the Prima didn't want to keep up at the time, so their company is gone. So
But you got to remember, fighting games in and of themselves are also pretty niche overall. So,
not as much anymore, though.
but in compared, like they're not Red Dead Redemption, all right. That's not. Let's not act like it's any of the big AAA releases or even some of the AA releases, all right. Let's not do that.
But those games having guides would help them too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be able to make the money, but at the same time, with how publishing rights work and how they like to make their guides for the game came out, we don't actually know if they even were making enough money to have the cost of being like, hey, we want to write a guide for your game. We didn't even know it. Well, there's probably a lot of background information that we don't have on their income.
That sort of thing happens more with clout than it does with like money, though. You got to remember, Telltale had all kinds of deals. Like they had a deal for Stranger Things, and they went out of business.
Yeah,
so,
but they kept bleeding money with these expensive licenses and not getting the sales that they needed to be getting because, like I said, Let's Players, people putting out the content, especially with how their games played, because their games were basically press these buttons when we tell you to press these buttons in QuickTime events and get to see what happens. But someone's already made a video talking about, here's all the branching paths. Let's watch. There are people who literally don't even play the game. They have reaction channels where they react to Walking Dead choice decisions. It's
but if
wild.
They had money, why did they go out of business? That's the point here.
Why?
Like it was more so their clout that got them any of these deals than money.
Because when you don't
Appeared
don't sell,
they
and
had
you have to
money.
and you have
It was
to
like,
pay
okay,
these.
So then they got the deals.
When your games
So-
don't sell and you have to have a bunch of expensive licensing, eventually the cost is a lot higher than what it takes to stay in the game. So you have to
but
shut
that's
it
my
down.
Point. The point is they got the deals in spite of that.
Until what happened? They had to shut it. So for all we know, Prima was in the same boat.
That's my point. Like, what are you saying?
That's my point. That's what I said.
No, my point is that Prima, even though they had these deals, they refused to be modern. And that's why they're going out of business. That's the main reason why they're going out of business. They refuse to keep up with the times and the demand. It's like Amazon saying, hey, you buy a paper book. We're never going to sell you ebooks ever. If you want a digital book, go to somebody else, not us.
Yeah, but see, that's Amazon's different because they are a vendor. They keep it off the top. We're talking about a very specific and niche product. Like, people are already subscribed to channels that give them every tutorial they'll ever need for whatever game they play.
The point.
I understand that, but there's no YouTuber who's out here doing what Amazon does.
YouTubers are going to do those things and get those views because the demand is there.
All right,
So
what do you
if
think,
Prima-
Kawttus? You've been quiet over there.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think on the situation? Inquiring minds would like to know.
Well, what you mean in terms of
Prima, what do you think? Why do you think they went out of business? Or even Telltale, if you just want to give me the Telltale.
Well, for Prima, I really think their business model, I mean, not a lot of people buy players' guides anymore. I mean, and I've noticed this when I see their stuff, they'll try and sell it as in, this isn't just a player's guide. This is a collectible book. As in, it's going to give you some sort of insight into maybe the game development process or things maybe people don't know. It's going to have full color pictures, all sorts of things. Like, a lot of people, they'll buy a book and won't even read it, but they'll have it. They just want to collect it. And that's kind of what they were trying to do. And I think that can only work so well. And I don't think they could push enough of those books to enough people to actually make it sustainable.
Exactly. Now, if they just had digital content and said, like, "Oh, hey, some of the devs made these videos, or some of the, some people put out, this guide on this in this PDF, or something of that nature," then they probably wouldn't have gone out of business. If they were the ones that provide the YouTube videos and whatnot, you wouldn't have Joe YouTuber making money off of his game. It's like, why would I listen to him when I can listen to the guy who made the game?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things they had on their side is that they had industry connections. They could get review copies. They could get access,
and they could write these guides a lot earlier.
And they would know stuff that maybe people might miss. I mean, there used to be players' guides that would talk about things that were actually removed in final builds of the game.
Because what? How much would you buy a digital strategy guide for?
Probably the same price I'd pay for a book, like an actual physical strategy guide. Like, it's still the same.
Let me tell you, you are a rare breed in that regard.
How is that a rare thing? It's only rare because now you have people who are just doing it themselves. But if they caught on before that wave, like they were supposed to, then they wouldn't have been in.
Because normally for an ebook, people expect something like $7.99, $9.99, maybe $15.99. But them hard copy books, they be selling them for $40. They be almost expensive as a game in and of their own.
I'm not going to spend I don't spend $40 on a hard copy in general. I mean, like, at most, the hard copies that I've bought in the past have been like $20. You're talking about the limited edition collector's guide version or whatever. That was part of the reason why they went out of business in the first place. They're like overcharging people for a medium that they're not even drawn towards in the first place. As far as a digital version of the guide, it's probably going to be cheaper in general because it's going to cost them less to make a PDF as opposed to printing thousands or copies of books to sell to people.
Because Prima Games, they have a website in which most of their tips and stuff are actually just on the website for various games. So they know that. But they have stepped into the digital realm. Like they've had the website for years.
They got news and stuff on there too.
Yeah, they got, their top 4 tips and stuff is for Fallout 76, which isn't even out yet. They just had the beta. Red Dead Redemption 2, Odyssey for Assassin's Creed, and Fortnite.
But where do they promote all of that?
Their Facebook and their Twitter. Now, like I said, I don't follow them on Facebook and Twitter.
That's the point. Saying. I don't follow them on Facebook and Twitter either.
But here's the thing: I don't care about guides. Period. So it didn't necessarily ever matter to me.
Now look, their Twitter has 30K followers.
It's not about. How is the consumer going to know those things are there if they're just like, yeah, follow us, and then you find out? It's like.
Actually,
you have to get me to the well first.
And here, actually, I checked their Twitter, and this actually proves my point to what I kind of said earlier. Like for their Assassin's Creed guide, they call it the Platinum Edition Strategy Guide, which includes a premium collector's case, a collector's edition guide with a unique cover.
Is that the one that came with the hardcover journal thing?
Yeah. It has collectible art prints, a double-sided map poster. You're not necessarily going to buy it for the strategy guide.
You're getting it for the map, the figurine,
other stuff that could be in there.
The journal, the chest.
It's like it's kind of like when it's kind of like a coffee table book in a way. You know, when Apple made that stupid $150 book of all the products they made, like it's ridiculously priced, but people bought it because people like to collect things like that. It's like all those stupid pop figures.
I honestly just don't think these collector's edition things are really gonna. Well, no, I shouldn't say collectors. I should say it's just strategy guides in general are really going to take off.
Yeah, like I say, it's not a sustainable model. I'm sure they sold some books, but not enough to really make it worth it for them.
Because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, game facts, like, there'll be people, like, there is a strategy guide for the game, but they'll just be like, nah, man, that's one on game facts, and just ask the question, and I got my answer from someone who's more experienced than me, and boom.
You'll sell 10 million copies of game, but how many of those 10 million people are going to buy the merch? Probably not many.
And how many people are going to buy a strategy guide? Probably even less.
I mean, Prima games sold back when print was a thing. So you're asking that question like people don't buy strategy guides.
Yeah,
People
but whoa.
Game facts is still a thing.
But way back then,
ride the wave with the time.
The volume of online stuff was definitely,
and I guess the difference was we didn't have YouTube.
Demand.
Because here's the thing. I used to read like, okay, you go up, take a left, and then you'll see this thing. It's like, okay, what's this thing? Where's the left? What am I looking for? The strategy guide would have pictures and stuff like that to help guide you. But then we made YouTube and capture cards, and we could actually record people playing it and showing you exactly what you need to do.
Exactly. And at that time, they should have been like, okay, we see that that YouTube is taking that and making this easier for people. So, Joe Sixpack can go on there and make his own video. So we will make our own video series and say, this is the new strategy guide format. Come here for our YouTube videos. Now, come here for access to the YouTube videos or
while that's true,
PDFs and all that jazz.
Now, while that's true, you got to remember back then when that first started taking off, a lot of people who were, whether it's developers or just celebrities in general, the YouTube wave was not like the most lucrative thing in terms of getting paid to have a YouTube channel.
I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about when it was obvious to everybody, including companies like Prima Games. It's their fault that they're closing. That's the whole point.
I'm not disagreeing with that fact. I'm just saying.
You're just saying, like, you're going against the fact, but then you keep saying that you're going with the fact. Like, this is confusing.
Okay, let me tell you what I'm saying. It's their fault they closed down. However, when it comes to what they offer, there is no way anyone in the modern era would need to pay just for the strategy guide part, because there's so many places to get it for free. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you can't just say that's all I'm saying, like, oh, I agree, but, like, that means you don't agree.
No, it means I agree, except for this one little piece of the docket
you're
that you put up there.
You're offering a counterpoint. That's the point.
You're saying it like if they just went digital and just, adapted in that factor, it'd have been fine.
You're simplifying it.
Because it's not that deep of an issue.
It's business. That's a deep issue.
I'm well aware that it's business. What I'm saying is
a lot of industries where they don't modernize with the times. They expect
that's most industries
to adapt to them, not them to adapt to us.
See, Kawttus gets it.
That's what I said.
It's not a simple thing. It's their job to pay attention to things like trends and make sure that they're going with
because
the trends.
Prima does stuff on Twitch.
Stay relevant. When's the last time you heard someone talk about Prima on Twitch?
Honestly, besides them closing down, when's the last time I heard somebody talk about Primas, which you should be asking me?
Exactly, that's the point. They need to stay relevant to stay active. They didn't do that. That's why they're closing.
Because honestly, when it comes
matter of like
when it comes to Prima,
close them. They close themselves.
Because when it comes to Prima themselves and this conversation we're having, this is I think this is the most recent time in like years I've been asked about a guide. Normally, when I'm playing a video, like when it comes to video games, I don't look at guides at all.
Well, that's because in general, people have made video games a lot easier too, so that most people don't even need guides. The game.
While that's
the
true,
guide that you need.
You would be amazed how people get stuck on some of the most simple ass shit.
Sure, whatever, but like those people, that's why they make the games easier. That's why they give you so many instructions in the games for people like that.
Like at this point, the only type of guides that really have any merit to them are ones where it's like professional players telling you about a competitive game.
Well, yeah,
because those are the ones that give you the marginal gains and being able to see some sort of progress in terms of where you were before. That was my point
about the videos. Okay, the Tekken Tag 2 strategy guide was, for all intents and purposes, like written by mostly pro Tekken players who place, like who make top 8s and whatnot, and that's why people respected that guide, because it was made by people who can actually give you tips for success. So if they were like, oh, hey, guy who won, our last big tournament for the last version of this game, would you like to come on and make some content for the new game? And then boom, they make their money that way. They don't have to make their money selling strategy. That's the point.
Only problem is, like I said, for most of those games, they're not really the big sellers. Because like the big sellers for guides that I've seen written by Prima was when they used to do shit like Pokemon or whatever.
I just said they don't have to make their money selling strategy guides. Why are you talking about them making money selling strategy guides as if that's their only source of income?
I didn't say it was their only source, but we're talking about the guides at the moment.
Your way of the point is going completely against what I just said.
So you're just saying that they should just be overall content creators?
Yes, because that was the only way they could go to stay relevant.
Unless they want to go full into selling collectible crap.
Well, that's kind of what they've tried to do now. And that didn't work.
That's a dumb move. Because it's always going to be expensive, and people are just going to be like, well, why would I get this when I could just go, get a Funko Pop, or something like that. So.
Because I think the last thing that they've probably done now is have internet news bulletins and their online little tip thing. I think they do have a YouTube channel, but I wouldn't know about that.
But he knows about it, so it's not.
I think it's also a failure of advertising as well.
Pretending to be Prima. That is not actually them.
Yeah, it's a failure in the advertising too. Like all of that is encompassed in why.
Apparently, that is a Hispanic rap group.
Oh, wow. Anyways,
but it seems like that's the main thing. I don't. Okay, I made the mistake and Googled Prima strategy, and I got Review Tech USA and like every YouTuber who ever does anything news related saying Prima shutting down. That's all I got.
Well, yeah, that's the hot take right now. So
But for all we know, maybe they only have the infrastructure to do these type of things. Who knows?
That's not believable.
I'm not working at the company.
That's really not believable.
What do you think, Kawttus?
What?
Oh.
About?
So apparently, good old-fashioned Discord decided they were going to cut my speakers. That is super dope. I have not heard... Everyone just randomly stopped talking. That's...
Oh, well, I don't know.
Super dope. That's so weird. Now Discord doesn't even detect my headset. That is the wildest. My headset's not even flashing. Did it come out of the USB port? What the hell? Okay, I'm back. I could not hear you guys. What the hell?
Wow. Well, we could definitely hear you going on about Discord, fighting you and whatnot. So,
Yeah, so if you said anything in the past, yeah, man, they just cut the feed on you guys. Just straight up cut you out. So if you said anything in the past 80 seconds, you have to reiterate. Yeah, I got sniped there, guys. I got sniped. Anyways, we're back. I just said I don't think Prima has a YouTube channel. I think they have everything else but YouTube. Wait, hold on. Now the stream is saying they can't hear you. Could someone please tell me, you guys, they can hear me, but they can't hear you?
Yeah, I think that's something on your end because we're talking.
Oh, I know. No, I don't know what my computer did, but it sure told me to shut the fuck up. Is what it did. Wow, this is... All right, how about now? Say something. There you go. Okay. Now you're picked up again. Boy, the fucking poltergeist came up in here and tried to hijack this stream. Let me tell you.
I think this is all a lie. Josh is trying to sabotage the stream. Everyone who is hearing this, call your local authorities. Josh is trying to take us through Discord.
Whoa.
He's trying to sabotage our reps.
Well, just because we had a disagreement, hello, what are you doing?
Isn't that how it works now? With those what is this, Generation Zers?
All right, fraudulence. I'm not gonna take this shit from you anymore.
You heard him.
I'll get you and your little dog too. And that's a threat. Sad part is I can see someone who's like, a big fan of yours just being like, I'll stop this ninja-bread man from getting to you. And like, I'm actually going to have to answer some questions on the Fox 5 fucking nudes.
I don't have fans. Like, what are you talking about?
Hey, man, you don't know. They could be out there.
That doesn't make sense. If they're fans, they'd be following me and whatnot. I don't have fans.
Hey, man, after your Prima rant, maybe you got some now. Who knows?
All right.
Maybe they heard you making points and they got real moist out there. You never know.
What what fantasy world do you live in?
Fantasy. I'm living in reality. Because see, Abdul, I used to be right there with you. You see, what I just said would normally be considered a fantasy realm. But then I realized just how crazy motherfuckers are in the real world, and I realized I have got to lower my standards on what I consider normal.
That's actually good point that I wanted to bring up. So a lot of people like make it seem like, oh, this stuff is so super new, like, oh, people are so crazy and this and that. It's like, nah, people have definitely been this crazy. It's just that thanks to social media, we're all finding out about it. Instead of, it being like the old days where they're like, oh, that's Crazy Joe. We just ignore that guy.
We just ignore that guy.
Or, oh, you guys heard about what happened down the street? Yeah, man, that dude, he lost his mind. Stuff like that.
Yeah, like you were telling me earlier, you went to a esports arena and you went to a tournament for, I believe you said it was Tekken, and a homeless guy entered.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work, right?
It's really weird. Like, he definitely looked like he was super homeless. I got to the place and he was just standing outside. He was like smoking a cigarette. The dude looked like he hadn't showered in like 10 years. He had the cleanest shoes and he had a stick, and he entered the tournament. And I was just like, how'd you get the entry fee? And
first off, if he's got the cleanest shoes, he's not homeless.
He must have like stole them or or he's got some sort of crazy connect.
Who we stealing shoes from? Like, we was like, man, I'm homeless, so the first thing I'm gonna steal is some shoes. What the fuck?
Or he had like a crazy fashion sense because it was like the cleanest shoes, everything else like years old, worn, dirty, whatever. It's like that is the best mix up.
Unironed, unkempt, just absolutely just raw, just out there. That's pretty OD.
He was a nice dude too. It's like he was very nice and cordial. So I was like, oh, you can't be of this world because
very, 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 very nice and astute gentleman, I'm sure. But speaking of being nice and astute and paying attention and being all types on your P's and Q's. So have y'all heard about that video? This is outside of the nerdosphere here, but have y'all heard of that video that came out where it's this girl talking about if you taking me on a date but you use a credit card, it's over?
What?
I've not heard of that stupid stuff, but there's a reason I haven't heard of it because I don't need to acknowledge something as dumb as that.
Yeah, that's the right answer right there. So, Kawttus, I'll just say it again. She basically believes that if you're using a credit card to pay for a date, you're a piece of shit. You're broke. You're taking me out on a government loan meal.
She's just trying to get.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you shouting for clout right now. That's what you're doing.
That just sounds like bullshit to try and like.
But even if you did believe that, you canceled. Just go ahead and just go in the corner and just stay over there with your broke friends.
I personally use credit cards for everything.
There are not a lot of people who use cash for everything who aren't doing illegal activities. So
no trail, dog. No trail. Did you pay for this? I don't know, man. I don't know. It just appeared here. So you stole
Definitely
it.
Illegal activity. The episode of Law and Order SVU there.
Oh, that sucks though. You have no record. Like, sir, do you have a record of this so you can return it? Nah, fam, I'm paying cash. Well, I guess you have to keep it now.
But I got a receipt. Nah, fam.
Nah, you pay with cash. We don't like your account around here. You keeping that.
Yo, could you imagine you bought a car with some cash and somebody tried to hit you with that? Nah, man, you paid in cash, dog. First off, we didn't trust you when you bought it. We don't trust you now. Man, some of the stuff you hear on the internet is just absolutely wild. Wild.
I mean, that's because the people who don't leave their homes are on the internet. And now they notice that people are paying attention to them. So when they say their crazy stuff, it's like, oh, man, get a load of this guy. And they're just like, oh, they listened to me this time? I've the 10 out of 10 proven that when you just don't pay attention to people who say crazy stuff like that, they just fade away. It's literally just like, oh, guys, get a load of this crazy thing I'm saying right here. Guys, hey.
Like there was an interesting thing with Overwatch. So there's a YouTuber named Ragtag, right? And what he has, his entire gimmick was he had this thing called toxic insert thing here, where one of them was called toxic coaching, one is called toxic skin reviews, but I'll start with toxic coaching. Toxic coaching was he would have his viewers submit to him footage and he would coach them to get better, but he would do it in a way that was toxic. But everyone going into the video knew it was a gimmick, it wasn't serious. So instead of just saying, you should probably put your shield down and move over to the left so you can shield your team better, he'd be like, look at you fucking donkey. Move to the fucking left and shield your fucking team. Be fucking useful. Get your fucking dick out of your ass and actually press the W key to win. And it would be like that, but it was all, everyone involved was like, yeah, okay, he's just being funny. He's just having a riff. Everyone who was involved on this channel submitted to be here, so it's fine, right? Then he has another one where it's called toxic skin reviews, where it'll just be he'll review the new skins for the new characters that come out or the new skins for an event and just take a giant shit on them. But if it's a good skin, he'll legitimately praise it. So Ash has a new skin where it's a palette swap where it's this metallic pink, right? So he goes on and says, she's supposed to be a fucking badass. This is the last thing that she would ever. Now, keep in mind, this is Overwatch, so we know some of the skins are absolutely ridiculous in terms of their color palette. Have nothing to do with trying to channel the character's character in the design of the skin. Like, we know this. So he did that. And then some girl's tweet went viral because she was like, look at these shishette males over here saying that they don't have any room to like pink skins. How dare this toxic masculinity has to stop. And like a bunch of people just started shitting on the dude because like they were having like testimonial stories like, my brother, he's always been bullied because he likes the color pink. And like, these are real tweets that people are writing. And now that I know that it bothers people, I can only imagine what he went through as John. If he was bullied for liking pink, yes, that's shit. But now it's turned into a fuck this YouTuber because he made a joke video. But for whatever reason, these people didn't know it was a joke, even though in the description it says it's a joke. The title says it was a joke. It's just funny how
no one reads those.
Right? They saw a thumbnail and said, "Oh, click." Even though the thumbnail says it, so I don't know how they blinded their way to the video.
I mean, all you're talking about is more people who don't leave their homes and are on the internet saying wild stuff. Like
that's what I was saying. I was trying to segue it because I'm just saying it's. I was giving you a actual application of something that happened this week.
Like, look, just because, like, sometimes some people who say, like, oh, look at this, cis male here, doing this or that or whatever, sometimes they make good points. Doesn't mean all of them do. There are some that just say crazy stuff, and people are just like, oh, but they're woke, so I've got to listen to them. No, you don't. And it's like, oh, people are going to hate me if I, disagree with them. No, they're not. Like some of them just say some crazy stuff. Like I've seen some like people like reposting like pictures of tweets where someone says something and it's like, no, you're just being really stupid.
Speaking of things that are really stupid, like I said, I haven't dug too much detail in this because I didn't care one way or another. But apparently this is a topic that keeps getting brought up like for the past couple of weeks. So what do y'all think about Tara Strong, her friend, and the Uber driver?
Whoa, what?
Okay, so I'm going to give you both sides of the story that I've heard. All right?
Okay.
Well, I've seen the video, so I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so so you would know more than I. These are the two stories I've heard. I haven't seen the video, so this is completely blind for me, but this is what I've been told. Side A, the Tara side. Me and my friend were put into danger. This Uber driver of yours almost killed us. These are words she used in her tweets to then say he was arguing about his pro-Trump, his pro-Trump support while demonizing us and calling us the racists. So they got him suspended, blah, 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 blah. But then the video got taken. She took the video down because before she said, I have video proof that this happened, and I'm going to upload it. And then she uploaded it, but then she eventually took it down. And now a bunch of people are trying to use the video against, like, why would you take it down if it was supposed to help your argument? But it clearly didn't. So the other side of the story I'm hearing is the guy was just being somewhat like normal, and he heard that, Tara and her friend in the back talking about politics. And honestly, look, if you're an Uber driver, don't get involved in people's conversations because it don't matter what happened. There's a 2% chance of this going well for you and a 98% chance of big oof. Because trust me, when you got these strangers in your back, who knows what type of chicanery. They could be on bath salts when they get in your car for all you know. I'm just trying to get my bag and move on. Just trying to get the check secured, keep it going.
You could end up being that one taxi driver from the beginning of an episode of Law and Order SVU.
Where you got to hit him with I remember what he looked like. He was a short fella. Always wears green,
a story about the most recent
hold on before you get to that. I gotta finish the other side of the story. The other guy, the Uber driver, was an immigrant. So apparently what his side is, they were harassing me and they were calling me racist names and saying I was a Trump supporter and I need to get out of the country and blah 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 blah. So Kawttus said he's seen the story. So what side of the story do you prefer?
Well,
you pro voice actress or you pro
the
Uber driver?
I saw kind of skips the beginning part.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's more video to it, but what I saw, we don't see what exactly sparked the confrontation.
Okay.
And I really think, well, from what I could gather from the video, they were talking about some liberal stuff or something or the other. I guess then it triggered the driver, and then he started acting erratic and getting angry. And then they're just trying to say, like, basically your job is to just drive, you don't pay attention to what we're talking about back here,
See?
You just drive to where we need to go, and
that's what I said.
Us off.
Like, if we asked you to get in the conversation, all right, sure, driver. Sure. But if they didn't ask, you're asking to take a trip to L City. No one wants to go to L City.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know what they were talking about exactly, but the point is, like, unless they're talking about something, I guess, specifically illegal, then I think, don't butt into the conversation, just do your job, drop them off, and wipe your hands clean a bit.
So was he like, liberals, get out of my car?
Kind of. I mean, he apparently attempted to drop them off on the side, like a highway or some crap like that, and they're like, you can't drop us off here. I told you, take us to a gas station and drop us there, and I agree. Like, you can't literally just kick them out of your damn car wherever you want. You gotta drop them somewhere safe.
Unless they're like threatening your life or something, then you can't really do it like that.
Merely, I guess, talking about liberal, Democrat, or whatever, you can't just do that. So, I mean, like I said, we don't have the very beginning or what they were talking about, what was going on, but it sounds like he probably should just mind his own business,
Because I think it's funny because there's like, if you Google the incident, the first 3 videos are Uber driver goes on furious rant against actress Tara Strong for voting Democrat. Then you get one that says a Trump-loving Uber driver harasses female passengers. And that's a 5-minute video, so that might be longer. Because I see one that's like 2.5 minutes, and I see a 5-minute video. And I see, but that could be a video with commentary for all we fucking know. Then there's another one that says archive, Tara Strong, Uber driver, argument, confrontation. Then there's one called Just Another Day in America, Tara Strong, Uber incident.
Well, if Tara took down the original, then you're probably not gonna find it on YouTube, or you're gonna find someone like talking about it or something stupid like that. You'll probably find the original video somewhere on like Reddit or something where they were like, I got it before she took it down.
Wait, never mind. I clicked on the YouTube video and the first thing I see at the bottom left hand corner was worldstarhiphop.com. So the World Star journalist at it again, eh?
Serving the people.
Yep. They adapted, unlike Prima, right?
Oh.
Wait, no. Apparently this 5-minute video is just the video. So apparently this well, okay. Yeah, this might be the full video, because this looks longer than this is longer than Twitter would allow. So maybe that's the full video there. And let's read some of the comments. I know, the last place you want to be, right?
Yeah, I don't know why you're doing this.
Because I want to hurt myself just a little bit. Tara Strong is
the people, though.
Yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't, but I'll just read this one from Prison Boss. That should tell you everything you need to know right there. But anyways, Tara Strong is on the warpath and now furiously copywriting all instances of this video from YouTube, most likely because this video shows her true colors and reveals her as a genuinely awful person. Don't think just because you're trying to craft a narrative making her out to be the victim that she's going to spare you from being copyrighted just to save her own crumbling reputation. Oof. Followed by, I used to have a lot of respect for Tara Strong because she voiced a lot of my favorite characters, like Bubbles, Timmy. Oh wow, he really named like an entire paragraph of the fucking characters.
Yes,
holy shit!
That is a YouTube comment. So.
But after seeing this video, I realized how similar she is to my sister. What? Never mind. I see their name. It's Mint the Shiny Glaceon. That should have told me everything I need to know right there.
Well, there you go.
Followed.
You know what?
Wait, hold on. I got one more comment for you. Those were the rudest women ever. They felt their opinion was far superior to his because he was an immigrant. Guess what? You don't talk politics in another person's vehicle. Actually, if I'm in an Uber, I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. Politics is the religion. Excuse me, it's like religion. It would be like an atheist getting into a Catholic's car. But no one's going to Catholics Drive together. Like,
here's the thing,
CatholicsDrive.com.
Here's the next thing, though. It's not like the taxi cab driver or the Uber driver, whatever driver, is going to put on well, I am a conservative Protestant Jewish person.
Nah, man, I'm a wasp.
I don't know who they
White
are
Anglo-Saxon. Protestant Christian, baby. Let's go.
I mean, that sort of thing doesn't need to be like put out there in the first place.
It sure doesn't.
Somewhere, so that part doesn't matter as far as like him doing his job. But as far as her like letting him be involved in the conversation, or them like keeping the conversation going while he's like trying to throw in his conservative 2 cents or whatever, then yeah, that poses a problem because he's not really doing his job at that point. He's like driving and also causing like an unsafe environment for them, because now it's like, oh, he doesn't agree and he's getting hostile, so like he's operating the car, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
because like for me, I was like, I don't think like I just think like the Uber driver's like, yo, you got people who disagree with you politically. If they already voted, they ain't shit you about to say that's gonna make them go back to the voting office and be like, oh, time to unvote.
You really changed my mind there. I'm just gonna go and change my vote right
Guys, I've made a terrible mistake. Give me my voter card back. I need to vote again. Like that's not how that's going down. So you might as well just turned up your tunes and focused on the road.
We'll just retroactively unelect everyone we ever elected.
No, the hula girl, that one, I'm with the Uber driver on that one. That happened like last year.
What happened that one?
Some chick got in the car. And you know how like, you have hood ornaments, like you like on the hood of your car, like the dashboard.
The Hawaiian one?
Yeah, the Hawaiian girl. He said that's racist. You're appropriating culture because you have a he's like, I just have a hula girl
that
on my
back
dashboard.
To what I said about people who
don't leave their house.
Don't leave their house, and you should just ignore what they're saying, because she's an example of the ones I was saying where it's like they say the proper terminology for people to be like, oh, I've got to pay attention to this person, and then they just spout stupid stuff like, oh, that's racist and that's appropriating because you have that hula girl ornament on your car, and it's like, no, that's just a decoration. Like, it's not like.
But see, that's different. Rob in the chat, that's different. That the hula thing was a person who was doing their job, minding their own business, eyes on the road, and someone in the back seat talked to him saying, yo, you X, Y, and harassing that man. This is 2 people having a conversation in the back of the car, and you're like, hey, you turn that Democrat shit off of there.
Yeah, like having the hula girl thing in his car is not like racist or anything. Like, white people can buy rap albums, guys. Like, it's okay. Like, there's nothing like racist about like, liking something from a different culture. Like, there's nothing racist about liking a girl who's Hawaiian who's in the like hula skirt or whatever doing that. Like, he's not like, I hate people like this. He didn't say anything like that.
And here's the thing. I don't want to get too deep into this, but that kind of mentality, I think, also fosters racism in a way, saying like, oh, you're this, so you can only do that, while they can only do this. And it's like, okay, so you're saying we're all different and we can't cooperate. There's no overlap here. I'm this, I can only ever be this, and they're that, and they can only ever be that, and we can never be the same.
If your soup touches my soup, you're appropriating my culture, and I want my soup back.
It's like, as far as things like that go, people like that should not have a platform where people are like, oh man, that makes a lot of sense, because it doesn't. And a lot of people get afraid to tell someone like that, hey, you're wrong, because you're sounding like you're defending like, this group of people, but that group of people doesn't even like side with what you're saying right now, because it's crazy.
Actually, let's take another like relevant thing, like the whole thing with Apu. Like, just like, oh, Apu's racist, we need to remove him from the show. But there's actually a lot of Indian people who have stepped up and said like, no, we actually like Apu, we like to see him there.
Yeah, he's representation. Like, yeah, sure. The thing about Apu is that they actually address that his character, fits certain stereotypes by introducing, I think, like his son or like his nephew or something, who was like the modern version of like an Indian kid who came in and is like, all this stuff you're doing right here is really old school, old man, like this quickie shop and this and that, and like he was like, hey, you're the old stereotype, and that's kind of a problem, but I represent what's going on now and how we can be different but still exist. And then people, I don't know, later on are saying Apu is racist or whatever, and I think now they got him out of the show. Am I right on that?
I heard people said they removed him, but it's just like
I haven't confirmed that.
It's just like, it's funny to me that a lot of people who say that Apu is racist, I'm like, but are you Indian though? Oh, you're not. That's the part that's weird. It's funny like, when it's a bunch of white people telling other races what's offensive for you.
Like, if a group of Indian people came out and we are, like, offended by the way he's portrayed, can you please, like, change the character a little bit or something like that so that he does not just fit this, like, racial stereotype of Indian people because he's the only Indian person in the show.
In the show?
That sort of thing. Like, if something like that came out, okay, that's understandable. But one, he's proven to not be the only Indian person in the show. Two, he's been the same way for years, and people are just now coming out and being like, "Oh, that's kind of racist."
Because isn't this like their 20+ years of running? Like,
yeah.
Why now is it an issue? Like, are they gonna stop airing any reruns of the other like thousands of episodes that are out?
Exactly. Like, he's a staple character in the show, and he was originally
the Quickie Mart itself is iconic.
Yeah, and it was supposed to represent like a 7-Eleven, and that was actually what you would see when you would go into a 7-Eleven. Like, it's not like Apu was put there to make Indians look bad. He was just there to represent something that's realistic. An actual Indian man who owns the shop, who has, his Indian customs that he adheres to. And that's it. Like, they don't paint Apu as a bad person in the show.
I mean, he's an Indian business owner. He's living the American dream.
But you know what's hilarious to me, though? There's some people we saw in Rock's Discord server. We saw someone who had, like, these were 4 tweets apart. They retweeted and put a response to how they don't like Apu being in the show, right?
Uh-huh.
4 tweets before that on their page. If you clicked on it, it was a retweet of that black guy going in the 7-Eleven going 1, 2, 3, 4. How many blacks are in my store? I know you're stealing.
Oh,
and it's like, so Apu was offensive, but you were like, that right there though, that's the move.
Hilarious.
I mean, that's usually how people like that are. they're just,
there needs to be some awareness, like just a smidge of an awareness.
Should not be taken seriously, sure, but
no, I mean on their behalf, they need there should have been some awareness that said these 2 tweets do not coincide with the same narrative. But you got to remember, most people who are online who think like that don't actually think.
It'll take a lot less time to just realize that that's someone that you should. That's one of the people where back in my day would be like, "Oh, that's just crazy, Larry. Don't mind him."
Oh, Drawn Together could not come out today. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Drawn Together could come out today because most of the people who would say stuff like that are like the ones who loved that show. Because it was so edgy and gritty, because it was doing the things that you wouldn't normally see in TV and yada yada. And it was all raunchy and blah blah blah.
It still pales in comparison to the just absolute genius of the live action episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is fake.
It is. But that live action episode, like, when you actually think about what that episode is about, that episode was pretty big brain, dude. That episode was actually big brain. Kawttus, you've seen that, right?
Which one?
The live action episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I've never actually watched it. I know about it.
All right, so basically, it's the guy that was playing Shake, who I want to say, like, in the game in the show, his name in the live action show, his last name was just Shake or something like that. But that's not the point. Point is, Aqua Teen Hunger Force was a fever dream story that he writes that T-Pain keeps shutting down. And he like, no, because at the beginning of the episode, right, it shows the end of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and then it shows Shake's character handing T-Pain the script. And he's like, and T-Pain looked at it, and he looks dead at him and goes, "This is shit. This is awful. Who would ever write this? You think this is going to get more than 4 seasons? You think it's going to get more than 4 episodes? If this ever gets renewed, it clearly comes on at 2 a.m. and no one watches this shit. Get it out of my face." And he's like, but the explosions, don't you think that'd be good? No, this is trash. You should probably just quit and go ahead and do something that's actually good for you. Like, I don't know, maybe pick up a job. So
that's what we call a meta episode.
That's what I'm saying. Meta. It was big. It was big brain. So it shows that the Shake representation is trying to be an author, but all he can write is Aqua Teen episodes. So then he goes to his day job where he's a custodian at what do you call it? Like, the jump house places.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So he's over there, but Carl's the manager. And he's like, "Yeah, what you doing over there, man?" And he's like, so he gave Carl the story to read over. He said, "So, I read it. Not great, but let's add some lesbos. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. No, you don't add no boobs. You don't add no boobs. I don't really do well with words. I read pictures." And it was just like all the people that he met in real life are the people that he puts in Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But his best friend is a medicine ball in his little exercise room of his no bathroom ass, spot in the house, because he's basically renting a room in T-Pain's house. So turns out Meatwad is basically his imaginary friend in the real world. It was big brain. It was hilarious. The episode itself wasn't funny, but what they were going for, pretty big brain.
Back to the original point. The problem now is that, before, when people would, spat off things like, "Oh my God, that's crazy, that's racist," this and that or whatever, nobody would pay attention because they're like, "Oh, that's just crazy." Like, the majority of people are not going to look at that and say, "Yeah, that's racist." They're totally fine with it, or they just don't care. Now, those people have all these platforms where they can find, 10,000 other people who are the exact same and think the exact same thing, even if it's wrong, and then they just bulldoze their way.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, and they just decide that that's the truth, and you guys have to do something about it or else. And it's like, nobody's going, or else what?
They just go, "Oh man." Some people, they crack to the pressure, or like we see that with gaming companies all the time. They'll just be a group of people who say some wild stuff, and the next thing you know, it gets patched out of the game.
What? You guys don't have a...
Abdul just lagged out really hard.
You don't have a what?
You guys don't have a cell phone? That's still the wildest thing. If you guys don't know, at BlizzCon, when they came out with their Diablo announcement, they announced the mobile game. Of course, people were like, "Boo! Diablo 4! Boo!" And the defense was just, "What, you guys don't have a cell phone?" To me, dumbest move ever would be to try to make some stupid, corny joke about something that people don't want to hear about.
I'm doing pretty well, man. Pretty well. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. Oh man. But yeah, the other thing is, I don't have my exclamation point thing set up on this stream. I'm gonna have to go get into. But yeah, real talk. When it comes to, stuff like that, do you remember? Because I know Kawttus got really tilted about this. Because he didn't even own the game. Do you remember when there was that character and there was just a gigantic push for Mass Effect Andromeda to make that one alien character bi?
Oh.
There was a whole hashtag for the shit.
What, Jal?
Like Jalal or something like that. Yeah, shout outs to Zionic for the follow, but it was like, yo, make Jalal buy. And like, it was a hashtag. Like, people were legit angry. And then 2 months later,
was just trash.
No, this was after the game was out. This was like 3 weeks after the game was out. We knew it was trash. We knew Andromeda was garbage. But 2 months later, after that hashtag, he became buying the game. And I'm like, what? Because I'm over here like, as a straight dude, if I were trying to make that, I forget what her name is. I want to say it was Sam. The girl who's on the dock of your new cruiser. She only sleeps with femshep, not male shep. If I had started a crusade to get her to come to the pipe life, bro, I had guns in my face, knives in my back. I'd have been kicked off. I'd have been kicked off the internet, guys.
Yo, man, there'd be people doxing you, coming to your house.
Who's that ninja bread fellow?
It wouldn't be that bad because most of the people who would usually dox somebody for someone would be like, you know what? He makes sense. Yeah. Why do you guys have a problem with that?
Yeah, you see, you say that, but you have not been in the Thunderdome of gender politics internet, because those people, trust me, they don't know Young Metro. Young Metro don't trust anybody, and they always ready to shoot.
But you got to remember them, so those people aren't the ones that dox people.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna just say okay.
The ones that do.
I'm gonna just say okay to you, Chief.
That the female character does not like men. Oh, you guys are trying to wipe out straight people now, and then
nah,
the internet blows up.
Nah, you see,
That's too deep.
You're not right there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nah, man, you make it seem like I have no idea.
Yeah, you sure don't.
I have all the idea.
You sure don't. Oh, I am more aware. We're not about to.
Again,
we're not about to have an aware off
box of people where it's like, okay, sure.
I've seen this happen before. I've seen it happen that way before, and they get what I like to call the hot Dougie. So don't.
Yeah, but a lot of those people are the same ones that off like crazy.
Yes,
things.
you are right.
Like,
you are right.
Back, you're just like, that's not even logical for the point they're making.
Because most of them don't think of things through. They just throw some buzzwords out
most
there.
Most of them don't leave their home.
Yes, we got that. They just sit there on Tumblr or Twitter or whatever social media of their choice and just complain about everything.
Instead of being able to dox people.
You acting like people don't. You acting like it's hard to dox people these days, bro. God, I'll tell you.
That's besides the point. Like,
there's a lot of people who stay at their house who dox people. Let's not.
That's the general point of people who dox people. First off. Second off, I'm saying it's not those people.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. It's okay. I'm not.
Yeah, you always do this thing where you just assume that I have no idea what point I'm making, but it's like, as even when you know the point, you're just like, you know what? I agree, but I'm just saying, totally opposite. You're wrong, but I'm just saying. It's like, all right, you keep saying that I'm wrong, also say that I'm right, and you can't have both.
You can be. We give partial credit here, folks. Like, let's
not.
No,
that's not how right and wrong work. There's no. The partial credit to you. No.
So what you're saying is you don't want me to give you that 0.75. All right, I understand.
No, I don't need a participation trophy over here.
Let's go one step at a time, my G. One step at a fucking time.
You see, you're aware you can handle these things, but you couldn't even handle that. See,
what you mean couldn't handle it? I'm talking about for the people.
Now.
Let's chill.
That wasn't anything big. I was simply stating a fact. I don't need a participation trophy here.
Are you sure? Because sometimes we go to these cons and I feel like we all need a participation trophy.
You can speak for yourself. I am fine.
Because, boy, if we all remember the end. Well, no, that's right. Abdul didn't have to experience the death that was the end of Dragon Con this year.
What are you talking about?
Having to go down that freight elevator? Nah, you made sure that you were not in the vicinity at that time.
Yeah, because they were setting guys up for some nonsense. It was like, can we get some organization here? One guy saying, yeah, you guys are allowed. And then the other's like, I don't know how we're going to do all this. And the other's like, yeah, we need you to like move this through this group of people here who are playing their game and doing their activities here so that we can get this onto the, and it's like, so you want us to do that and just expect the people to just be like, well, but don't mind me. Let's just stop our game and move through here. Do you know where you are?
No, obviously not. But yeah, we are now at the hour and 40-minute mark, so I think it's time we should wrap it up. Editing this is going to be fun, given the audio issue that randomly just kicked in because my PC decided we're just going to switch your headset to your microphone and vice versa. Boy, was that wild.
I mean, it happens.
So yeah, any final thoughts you guys have, or are you guys good to close it up?
The internet was a mistake, and some people are wrong, and it's not bad to tell them that they're wrong when they're saying something crazy.
And
some
sometimes
people need to hear that they're being crazy to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me fix myself."
And sometimes you got to tell them what you doing over there. Not only is it not it, you out of the pocket. Actually, we need you to just shut down operations over there on that entire hot take.
And we also can't mistake being an asshole for being right.
There we go.
You also can't mistake being an asshole for being, just an edgy boy, or what they like to say today. It's just a joke. Just chill,
BoJack
bro.
Horseman, Rick Sanchez. There's one other character that I can't think of right now, but they're all supposed to represent what you're not supposed to like, and people are like, "Man, I love that," and I love people like that. No correlation here. It's like you missed the point. You're supposed to be able to tell people like that, "You're awful. You must become better for society because you being awful is hurting people."
But that would require them to accept blame for something, and they don't have the intestinal fortitude to be doing all that. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That's why we have things like Billy Bush lost his job over the grab her by the pussy tape, and Trump is president. Like, that dude did an interview. He did interviews, like a press run basically, where people were asking him about it, and he was like, "I lost my job. He became president, so I had
he's
to
the one
really
that
reassess things." Yeah, and it's like what was I supposed to do? He just started saying stuff, and I can't just be like, "Hey, whoa," because it's my job to get him to talk.
But I lost my job. You guys say you run the country. Anyways, I've been your boy Ninja Bread God. These have been my homies, SubtleFraudulence and Kawttus, respectively. We will probably see you next week, Tuesday. I think that fits our schedules pretty well, pretty nicely. Obviously, I stream on this channel just about every day, video game stuff, just playing, whether it's retro games, Overwatch, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Fighters, and that one game with superheroes that I will not talk about. Because we're not talking about it.
All right.
Don't. I know you want. No, we're not talking about it.
I'm saying everyone remember to follow me on Twitter. Follow my Twitch channel, which is at SubtleFraudulence.
All one
eventually
word.
I'll start. Yeah. Eventually I'll start. Giving you guys content there. But yeah, follow my Twitter. To add me on Facebook if you want to. I don't care.
If you're a fan of trash indie music, go ahead and hit him up on Twitter.
What does that mean?
It was like 3 a.m. and I was scrolling through Twitter, and you had retweeted it seemed like 6 different people. I don't know if it was a contest, but they were all making indie music, and I turned, the chick was ass, the 2 dudes were awful.
I don't think you were looking at my stuff, man.
All right, hold now. See, now you're gonna make me pull up to it. Now I gotta get the receipts on you, boy. Now I gotta get the receipts. I didn't want to do this.
Maybe you're looking at things that like I might have or something, but like I definitely haven't like retweeted anything like music related like that. I made a tweet that involved the hashtag vaporwave, and that like kind of took off for people who are into that.
Nah,
But that's about it.
it was a little after that, I believe.
I don't think I've done anything on Twitter after that.
Yeah, you had liked a couple of YouTube videos there. Milo,
Pretty sure.
Sweet Chin Music, Kali Uchis, Never Be Yours, Penny Bird Rabbit, The Sky Is Falling.
Yeah, those are all like underground artists that.
Oh, I know what they are. I'm just saying, when I clicked on them, I was like, we have different musical tastes, and I moved on.
I mean, there aren't like super duper amazing stuff. It's all pretty good, for what they are. So I like them. Give them support.
I'm glad you supporting the people you like. I'm just saying, for me though,
that's how Kendrick went from being underground to being mainstream.
So what'd you say?
So Kendrick went from being underground to being mainstream.
Okay. That's all I'm gonna say is okay. You got it, mate. You got it.
Okay, you're not gonna take shots at my music, like do all that nonsense. Like, come on now.
See, he's the one that really can't handle real internet culture. Anyways,
Nah,
Kawttus,
that's a lie.
how about you? Anything you
You're
want
just
to
taking
plug?
shots at underground artists. See, you see who your Ninja Break God is now.
Well done.
Kawttus, anything you'd like to plug?
Just everyone be good to each other. That's what we need in these trying times.
Yeah.
See, support your fellow man.
Support your locals. 2018. All right, guys. Later.